giant snake that, as it turns out, is a staggering 5.5% genetically different from the anacondas we knew of before. To put this in perspective, we're only 2% different from chimps.
Think you know what captivity really means? Wait until you hear about the creatures that spent their entire existence trapped behind bars, buried underground, or sealed away from the world for millions of years. One massive snake was discovered only after workers blasted open ancient caves, while other creatures endured decades of torture in spaces barely bigger than their own bodies. Today, we will reveal 10 terrifying creatures that were locked away for years. Giant snakes in unexpected places. In 2016, workers near Altamira in Pará, Brazil, carried out controlled explosions linked to the Belo Monte Dam project. After the blast opened sections of a cave, they found an anaconda in the debris, reported at roughly 10 meters long and around 400 kilograms. Even if the exact numbers were debated, the image was shocking, a thick body pulled from darkness like a forgotten relic. Footage showed the snake being lifted by a crane and chained as it was moved. Typical anacondas are far smaller, so people argued about perspective and measurement. Some reports claimed 33 feet, others said the camera angle exaggerated everything. But the main point stayed the same. This animal had been living inside an underground cave system, isolated from its normal habitat, surviving until one explosion exposed it. What happened after removal was never clearly confirmed. The elephant who worked 40 years without rest. For 40 years, an elephant named Eva carried tourists day after day, with chains limiting her movement and no chance to live like an elephant should. In the wild, elephants rely on family bonds, touch, and long rest. They lie down to reach deep sleep. Eva could not even do that. Caretakers said she had been unable to lie down for at least 2 years before rescue. Constant standing is not just uncomfortable, it destroys the body. Eva developed serious leg problems, muscle loss, digestive trouble, and liver disease, issues often linked to long-term captivity and stress. And the worst part is that pain becomes normal until the animal stops fighting and simply endures. Her rescue took months of negotiation. Then came the harder part, learning to feel safe. Even in a sanctuary, she still refused to lie down, as if the ground itself was dangerous. It took more than a year before she finally slept properly. Later, she bonded with another rescued elephant and began showing natural behavior again, like mud bathing and exploring. Freedom did not erase 40 years, but it gave her a way back. 2 chimpanzees trapped 12 years in hell. In Angola, 2 chimpanzees named Joanna and Riquita spent 12 years in small, filthy cages. Joanna was about 14 years old when rescued. Riquita was about 12. Their owner claimed he bought them to save them from hunters, but the result was still a prison, and other apes in the same situation reportedly died from neglect. Joanna could not be safely approached. Years of isolation shaped her fear and aggression, and she had almost no contact with other chimpanzees. She lived surrounded by waste and scraps pulled through the bars, never learning normal social behavior. For a species built on cooperation, that is a slow collapse. The rescue required permits, blood tests, veterinary exams, and careful transport because local facilities were limited. When they were finally moved to a rehabilitation center in the Republic of the Congo, rescuers worried that open space might feel terrifying. Instead, both gradually integrated into a family group and began climbing, drinking clean water, and living in forest habitats for the first time they could remember. The man-eating python locked behind steel. Central African rock pythons are among Africa's largest snakes. Adults often measure 3.5 to 3.5 meters, and exceptional individuals can exceed 4.8 meters. Weight can reach 55 to 65 kilograms, with some reports going beyond 91 kilograms. One claim from Côte d'Ivoire described a python near 9.96 meters, although snakes above 6 meters remain disputed. These pythons can kill large mammals, such as antelope. Human attacks are rare, but the risk exists with very large individuals. A documented fatal incident involved a python around 4.5 meters that killed a young boy. That is why the biggest specimens are kept in reinforced enclosures. Some facilities report nearly 6-meter pythons requiring 4 trained handlers during routine checks because their strength is overwhelming. They can go months without food, then swallow prey weighing 30 kilograms or more. Fearsome or not, they also help control rodent populations in their native habitats. The orca who never saw the ocean for 50 years. Tokita spent over 50 years in captivity at the Miami Seaquarium in a tank described by experts as the smallest orca enclosure in the world. Captured from the Pacific Ocean near Seattle in the 1970s at about 4 years old, she lived in a space around 24 by 11 meters and only 6 meters deep. Wild orcas can travel up to 160 kilometers in a day, so the tank was a tiny prison by comparison. For decades, she lived mostly alone after other companions died. Orcas are intensely social, with family bonds, touch, and long rest. They lie down to reach deep sleep. Eva could not even do that. Caretakers said she had been unable to lie down for at least 2 years before rescue. Constant standing is not just uncomfortable, it destroys the body. Eva developed serious leg problems, muscle loss, digestive trouble, and liver disease, issues often linked to long-term captivity and stress. And the worst part is that pain becomes normal until the animal stops fighting and simply endures. Her rescue took months of negotiation. Then came the harder part, learning to feel safe. Even in a sanctuary, she still refused to lie down, as if the ground itself was dangerous. It took more than a year before she finally slept properly. Later, she bonded with another rescued elephant and began showing natural behavior again, like mud bathing and exploring. Freedom did not erase 40 years, but it gave her a way back. Golden lion tamarins. Golden lion tamarins are tiny monkeys from South America with bright reddish-gold coats that made them targets for smugglers. They measured 20 to 33 centimeters long, with tails of 26 to 38 centimeters. Yet people still treated them like collectible objects, moving them into illegal trades and zoo cages, despite protection laws. In 2023 and 2024, 2 major rescue operations showed how far the trafficking reached. In Suriname, authorities confiscated 7 tamarins taken illegally. In Togo, West Africa, officials recovered 20 more that had been transported across the Atlantic Ocean on a sailboat in risky conditions. 3 died, but 17 were returned to Brazil. Those survivors went through quarantine and veterinary care before release into Brazil's Atlantic forest in August 2025. In the wild, they live in family groups of 4 to 8, defending territories around 40 hectares while foraging for fruits, insects, and tree sap. Their story is a reminder that captivity can begin as a hidden crime, long before a cage is ever seen. The last tortoise of her extinct species. In February 2019, researchers on Fernandina Island discovered a female giant tortoise from a lineage many believed extinct. The last confirmed specimen had been collected during an expedition in 1905 to 1906. For more than 112 years, that was the end of the story. The tortoise was nicknamed Fernanda. She was found in an isolated patch of vegetation separated by lava flows. She appeared small and stunted, likely due to limited food. Genetic analysis confirmed she belonged to the same lineage as the early 1900s specimen. Fernanda was moved to a tortoise center in the Galapagos for protection and possible breeding. Fernandina is harsh, shaped by lava fields across more than 600 square kilometers, making wildlife searches difficult. Later expeditions found tracks and droppings, suggesting 2 to 3 other tortoises may still survive. Giant tortoises can live up to 200 years, so there is still time for a recovery that once seemed impossible. The eagle who escaped and shocked Britain. Goldie, a golden eagle at the London Zoo in Regent's Park, lived in captivity for 5 years before an escape that stunned Britain. On February 28, 1965, during routine cleaning, he slipped free and vanished into the city sky. With a wingspan up to 2.3 meters and the ability to spot prey from over 3 kilometers away, this was a true predator loose in London. For 12 days, the chase became a national spectacle. Crowds reportedly reached 5,000 people, clogging roads around the park just to see him. The story hit television and newspapers and even reached the House of Commons. Capture teams tried traps and nets, but Goldie kept outsmarting them. During his freedom, he killed and ate a duck near the United States ambassador residence inside the park. He also attacked 2 small dogs before being driven off. On March 11, 1965, a zookeeper finally tempted him down with a dead rabbit. Goldie escaped again on December 15, 1965, and was caught on December 20, 1965. He later died around March 23, 1986. 500-kilogram bear trapped at a bus station for 14 years. In Armenia, 2 bears named Max and Minnie spent 14 years locked in a cramped cage at a bus depot, surrounded by engines, fumes, and constant noise. In 2018, rescuers finally moved them to a sanctuary. Bears in the wild roam huge territories, swim, forage, and den through winter. Max and Minnie had meadow bars and concrete. Max was reported at around 500 kilograms, so large that standard rescue crates could not handle him. He was transported in a horse trailer. About 10 men helped move him, while veterinarians monitored the journey that lasted roughly 45 minutes. The effort shows how extreme long-term captivity can become when an animal grows far beyond the space it was given. Negotiations reportedly took a full year while the bears remained in filthy conditions, and when they arrived, both seemed confused by open space, as if invisible walls still existed in their minds. Physical rescue is fast, mental recovery is slower. Mobile cave creatures sealed for 5.5 million years. The most extreme captivity on this list was not built by humans. Romania's Mobile Cave holds an entire ecosystem sealed from the outside world for about 5.5 million years. It was discovered by accident in 1986 when workers surveying land for a power plant broke into the cave. Inside, life runs without sunlight. The ecosystem depends on chemosynthetic bacteria that use chemicals like hydrogen sulfide and methane entering through thermal groundwater, similar in concept to deep sea vents. The air is dangerous for humans, with about half the oxygen found outside and high concentrations of hydrogen sulfide. The cave contains spiders, water scorpions, centipedes, and other invertebrates that have never seen daylight. Over time, they lost pigmentation and became pale or translucent. Eyes vanished because vision offered no advantage. In exchange, they evolved stronger chemical sensing and longer feelers to navigate in permanent darkness. Scientists estimate at least 48 species live there, and 33 exist nowhere else on Earth. Different chambers have different chemical conditions, shaping different communities, almost like separate tiny worlds under one roof. It's a locked world created by geology, where life adapted to captivity so completely that the outside might feel like another planet.